Are you classifying your employees correctly? The Fair Work Ombudsman recently took legal action against 2 former directors of a cleaning company in Sydney. They allegedly misclassified 5 migrant workers as contractors, underpaying them by over $124,000. This isn't rare. In fact, it's alarmingly common. And in my experience, the root cause is very seldom ill intent. It's confusion. Australia's industrial relations system is a complex system, and many business owners simply lose their way. So, in this video, you'll learn the critical distinctions between employment types, foolproof ways to identify genuine contractors, and how to shield your business from costly classification errors. Let's jump straight in. There are 3 main categories: full-time, part-time, and casual. Let's start with full-time employees. They typically work 38 hours per week and have an ongoing contract. They're entitled to all the benefits outlined in the National Employment Standards, such as annual leave, personal leave, and redundancy pay. Part-time employees, on the other hand, work fewer than 38 hours per week on a regular basis. They're usually on an ongoing contract too, and receive the same benefits as full-timers, just on a pro-rata basis. For example, if a part-time employee works 20 hours per week, which is roughly half the hours of a full-time employee, they would be entitled to half the annual leave and other entitlements. So instead of the 4 weeks of annual leave a full-timer gets, they would receive 2 weeks. Casual employees are a bit different. They don't have guaranteed hours of work, and they're not entitled to paid leave. Instead, they receive a casual loading, which is an extra percentage on top of their hourly rate. This loading is meant to compensate for the lack of leave entitlements and job security. As of 2021, the casual loading is 25%. Now, let's talk about casual conversion. This is a process where a casual employee who has been working regularly for a certain period can request to become a permanent employee, either full-time or part-time. The eligibility for this varies depending on the applicable modern award or enterprise agreement. But generally, a casual employee can request to convert to permanent if they've worked a pattern of hours on an ongoing basis for at least 12 months and continue working these hours as a permanent employee without significant changes. The employer can only refuse this request on reasonable grounds, such as if the conversion would require a significant adjustment to the casual employee's hours of work, or if the employer knows or can foresee that the employee's position will cease to exist in the next 12 months. This is an important right for casual employees, as it provides a pathway to more secure employment and access to entitlements like paid leave. So, in summary, the main differences in the 3 types of employment are around hours worked, job security, leave entitlements, and pay rates. Now that we've covered the key differences between full-time, part-time, and casual employees, let's look at how you would categorize a contractor. The main distinction is that contractors are self-employed and provide services to a business rather than being employed by them. They have more control over how and when they work, and often provide their own tools and equipment. But misclassification of contractors is a common trap that many businesses fall into. It often happens when a business engages a worker as a contractor, but in reality, the working arrangement has all the characteristics of an employment relationship. For example, let's say a business hires a contractor to work set hours, using the business's equipment and following the business's direct instructions. Despite being called a contractor, this work is likely an employee in the eyes of the law. The consequences of misclassification can be severe. The business can face penalties for sham contracting, be liable for unpaid superannuation and wages, and may even be subject to payroll tax and workers' compensation obligations. The worker, on the other hand, may have missed out on important employee entitlements, like leave and minimum wage rates. So, how can you be sure you're classifying your workers correctly? Ask yourself these 5 questions. 1. Does the worker have autonomy over how they complete their tasks, or are they under your direct control? 2. Is the worker responsible for their own insurance, tax, and rectifying defects, or do you bear this risk? 3. Does the worker provide their own tools and equipment, or do you provide these? 4. Can the worker subcontract or delegate tasks to others, or are they required to do the work personally? And 5. Is the worker paid per invoice, or do they receive a regular wage or salary? If the answers to these questions suggest an employment relationship, you likely have an employee, not a contractor. And let me just mention that a contract stating that a worker is a contractor is not definitive. If the actual working arrangement reflects an employment relationship, the worker is likely an employee regardless of what the contract says. Now that we understand the critical distinctions between types of employees, as well as employees and contractors, let's look at how you can protect your business from costly classification errors. Number 1, understand the legal definitions. Familiarize yourself with the legal definitions of full-time, part-time, and casual employees, as well as the multi-factor test used to distinguish employees from contractors. This includes factors like the degree of control, who bears the financial risk, who provides tools and equipment, the ability to delegate work, and the payment arrangements. Number 2, review your current arrangements. Conduct an audit of your existing worker arrangements. Ensure that your part-time and casual employees are correctly classified based on their hours and work patterns. For workers engaged as contractors, look at the actual working relationship, not just the contract. If the reality reflects an employment relationship, you may need to reclassify the worker as an employee. Number 3, ensure contracts reflect the real arrangement. Ensure that employment contracts accurately reflect the nature of employment, full-time, part-time, or casual. If engaging a genuine contractor, ensure the contract reflects a true contracting arrangement. However, remember that a contract alone is not definitive. The actual working relationship must align with the contract. Number 4, provide training. Educate your management team on the differences between full-time, part-time, and casual employees, as well as the distinctions between employees and contractors. They should understand the legal tests and be able to identify potential misclassification risks. Number 5, get professional advice. If you're unsure about a worker's classification, get advice from a legal or HR professional. They can help you navigate the complexities and ensure compliance. And number 6, keep detailed records. Maintain comprehensive records of your worker arrangements, including contracts, timesheets, and any relevant communications. This can provide valuable evidence if a misclassification claim arises. That wraps up how you should classify your employees and contractors. If you want to learn more about the minimum entitlements your employees should receive, check out our video on the National Employment Standards. It's a great starting point for ensuring your business is compliant and your employees are treated fairly. See you over there.